The heavy silence of an empty room. It is in the spaces between the words, between the moments, that regret settles in, a quiet reminder of things left unsaid. In Pixar Studios, the scene is deceptively simple. Buzz Lightyear stands proudly against the backdrop of his new, gleaming Space Ranger gear. His posture is impeccable, every inch of him radiating confidence. And yet, beneath this polished exterior, lies the mask he wears to shield his own insecurities. The figurine, designed to represent a hero, carries the weight of an identity that is entirely constructed. What Buzz doesn't realize in this moment is that his role as a hero isn't just a part of the story, it's all he has. His very being is tethered to the idea of being indispensable, of being the one that everyone relies on. He doesn't know it yet, but with every small movement, his mask is becoming more fragile. A quick glance around the room, the cluttered desks, the half-finished toys, all echo the same unspoken truth. Nothing lasts forever. On the shelf beside him, Woody, the once favorite toy, watches from the shadows. Woody is still, as always, but his stillness speaks volumes. He's resigned, almost forgotten in the flurry of new excitement. Woody's mask is one of leadership, but this mask hides an underlying vulnerability, a fear that no one remembers him anymore. His eyes flicker momentarily toward Buzz, but he doesn't move. The silence between them is thick, a silence filled with unspoken words, with the years of being the preferred toy before the arrival of Buzz. This silence isn't the comfortable kind. It's the kind that signifies a slow erasure. A memory stirs in Woody's mind. A day long ago when Andy chose him as his favorite, holding him up with a gleam in his eyes that Woody knew meant love. But that moment is slipping away, buried under the weight of time. Now, he waits, his body frozen in place, yet every fiber of his being feels the erosion of his relevance. Woody's mask, his pride in being the trusted leader, has become a shield, a barrier between the world and the crushing truth that his time is fading. It's the perfect moment for him to step forward and speak, to tell Buzz that it's okay, that he'll always be there, but the words are stuck. He looks at Buzz again, noticing the way. The light hits him, the new toy with the bold colors and intricate details, and he feels a pang of regret. Buzz's presence only amplifies the emptiness Woody feels. This isn't just about toys. This is about the deep, unspoken fear of being replaced. The very act of standing still is his way of hiding the growing pain, hiding the vulnerability that lies beneath the hero mask. In the silence of the room, the weight of this realization presses down on him. But Woody's body remains still in the same way he has been for so many years. He doesn't fight against it. He doesn't speak up. He is locked in a cycle of quiet sacrifice, allowing Buzz to shine, giving way to the newer, more exciting toy. He hopes Andy will still remember him, but deep down, he knows that the love he once had is no longer as important. The self-imposed sacrifice weighs heavily on him, but it's not the loud, heroic kind of sacrifice. No, Woody's is quiet, like a soft whisper that only the heart can hear. This is the kind of regret that doesn't scream out. It isn't a cry for attention. It's the quiet longing of an old toy that knows its place, that has seen its time come and go, and is waiting, hoping, for a moment that might never come. The stillness lingers, and Woody's body betrays the sadness that his heart refuses to acknowledge. It's here, in the silence of this room, that Woody's story of unspoken sacrifice truly begins. The room is still, save for the faint hum of the overhead lights. Woody's eyes remain fixed on Buzz, but now, his gaze is not one of silent resignation. It's something deeper, something more raw. The weight of time, of memories unspoken, presses on him as if the room itself is holding its breath. The space between them seems to grow larger, not in distance, but in something intangible, something Woody cannot place. He looks at Buzz, the new favorite, and for the first time, Woody's mask begins to crack, exposing the shadows he's kept hidden for so long. It's not just the fear of being replaced that stings. It's the realization that his entire existence has been tied to a singular role, the leader, the protector, the one Andy chose. And now, that role is slipping away like sand through his fingers. Woody's heart tightens as memories flood in. He remembers when he first came to life, the joy he felt when Andy picked him up, the sense of purpose he carried with him. He was more than just a toy. He was Andy's friend, his confidant, his protector. But those days feel distant now, as if they belonged to another life, another time. The arrival of Buzz Lightyear marked the beginning of Woody's decline, but it wasn't just about a new toy. It was about something deeper. It was the loss of a place in someone's heart, the realization that no matter how much he tried, he would never be the favorite again. Buzz, with his shiny new armor and his bold promises of adventure, had come to represent everything that Woody feared: irrelevance, the fear of being left behind. Woody could feel his body growing heavy, the years of playing second fiddle to Buzz weighing down on him like an anchor. He looks at Buzz now, his figure still and confident, oblivious to the storm raging inside Woody's mind. There's a brief flicker of something in Buzz's expression, a slight shift, as though he, too, is beginning to understand that their roles have changed, that there is no returning to the way things were. But the realization does not come with words, only with a glance that passes between them. And it's in that fleeting moment that Woody feels something shift inside him, a faint stirring of something that feels like acceptance, but it's not quite there yet. The pain of the past, the weight of his own sacrifice, the fear of being replaced, all swirl together in a tangled knot in his chest. But even through this emotional turmoil, Woody doesn't move, doesn't speak. He is still, like a statue, standing guard over a past that no longer exists. His body aches, but the ache is something more than physical. It's the deep, gnawing ache of a soul that knows it must let go, but doesn't know how. In this moment, Woody realizes that he has been living in the shadow of his past, clinging to a version of himself that no longer fits the world he inhabits. The very thing that once gave him purpose, being Andy's favorite, is now the source of his pain. And as the weight of this realization settles on him, Woody's body sags, his shoulders slump, and for the first time in a long while, he lets go of the mask he has worn so long. The leader, the protector, the one who always knew what to do, all of it fades away. He is just Woody now, a toy like any other, and in this quiet surrender, there is a faint whisper of relief. It's not the relief of victory, but the relief of acceptance, of finally understanding that his worth was never tied to being the favorite. His worth was always in the love he gave, in the sacrifices he made, and in the quiet moments when no one was watching. The stillness of the room hangs heavy, and yet, in the quiet, Woody's heart begins to beat again, though slower, more deliberate. His eyes flicker between Buzz and the world outside the window, but it's the space between them that pulls at him. Time feels suspended, as though everything around him is frozen, leaving only this moment to unravel in his chest. Woody's gaze drifts over the worn edges of his boots, the dust that's accumulated on his once pristine outfit. These small details speak volumes, telling a story of wear and tear, of quiet days spent waiting. The toy that once stood tall now feels small, insignificant, but it's in these details that Woody begins to understand. The scratches on his paint, the frayed stitching, they are not marks of decay, but of a life lived. They are reminders of the adventures, the laughter, the love he once gave. And with that realization comes something that surprises him, a softening, a release. For the first time, Woody doesn't feel the need to prove his worth to anyone. He no longer needs to be the favorite, the leader, or the hero. He simply needs to be present. In this small space, with Buzz quietly observing from the side, Woody lets the walls around him begin to crumble. He feels the weight of his past sacrifices, those long nights spent keeping watch, those moments when he quietly stepped aside to let someone else shine. It was never about being the favorite, he understands now. It was about love, about being there when it mattered, without expecting anything in return. Woody's hand trembles as he touches his hat, the one constant he's held onto for so long, the symbol of the role he played in Andy's life. But now, that hat feels lighter. It no longer carries the burden of expectation. Slowly, Woody lowers his hand, a quiet surrender to the truth that has been lurking just beneath the surface. He's not a leader anymore. He's not the toy that Andy plays with the most. He's something else, something deeper, a friend, a companion, a silent witness to a love that never faded, even if it was unspoken. As his body relaxes, Woody feels a wave of calm wash over him. It's not an overwhelming wave, not a sudden burst of joy, but a quiet peace that settles within him, like the soft glow of the sunset that fades into the evening sky. He doesn't need to be the favorite anymore to know his value. He doesn't need to fight for Andy's attention because, in this moment, he realizes that his place in Andy's heart has never truly shifted. It was never about being the most loved, the most important. It was always about being there, about the quiet moments when he was by Andy's side, offering comfort without asking for anything in return. The weight of his past sacrifices no longer feels like a burden. Instead, it feels like a quiet badge of honor, one earned not through grand gestures, but through the steady, silent love he gave. And as he sits there, side by side with Buzz, Woody understands that the love they share for Andy is what truly matters. It's not about who is the favorite. It's about being present for one another, through the highs and lows, through the moments when no one else is watching. Woody's body relaxes fully now, the tension melting away as the truth settles into his bones. In this stillness, Woody finds a new kind of strength, the strength to let go of the past, to accept his place in this world, and to embrace the love he has always quietly given. It's not about the spotlight, it's about the quiet moments that truly matter. Woody sits quietly, his worn body against the edge of the shelf, gazing out across the room. The weight of time has not only faded his physical form, but has also worn down the edges of his spirit. His fingers, once quick and confident, now linger on the fabric of his vest, feeling the gentle fray of the threads, the soft texture that tells a story of years gone by. For the first time, Woody feels the depth of what it means to simply exist without a grand purpose, without the need to be the one who leads, the one who is loved most. The quiet in the room swells around him, not an uncomfortable silence, but one that offers a moment of introspection, a moment that has eluded him for so long. Buzz stands nearby, unaware of the emotional storm Woody is weathering. The toy who once thought he had all the answers, who wore his bravado like a shining armor, is now beginning to soften in the stillness. Buzz, too, has his own journey, one he has yet to fully understand. His eyes, once so filled with the certainty of his mission, now flicker with something more subtle, a realization that perhaps he, too, is not as invincible as he once believed. Woody shifts slightly, the motion slow and deliberate, as he allows his mind to wander back to that first day when Andy placed him into the spotlight. The joy, the exhilaration of being the favorite, the one who mattered most, felt so certain in that moment. But that certainty has long since faded, replaced by the painful truth that the world is always changing, always moving forward, and no matter how much he clung to his role, nothing stays the same forever. Woody has spent so many years fighting against this inevitable change, pushing against the tide of time, trying to maintain his place. But now, sitting in the quiet of this room, he feels the suffocating weight of it all start to lift. For the first time, he breathes deeply, the air filling his chest with a calm that comes from knowing the fight is over. It's not that he has given up, but rather, that he has finally understood that the greatest strength lies in letting go. In the stillness, Woody feels his body relax, his muscles unwinding, as he accepts the truth that has been with him all along. He is not defined by being the favorite. He is not defined by being the one who is always needed. He is defined by the love he gives, by the friendships he has built, by the quiet sacrifices he has made. And in this moment, with Buzz standing silently by, Woody finds peace. The realization is simple but profound. Love does not require recognition. It does not need validation. And it certainly does not need to be the loudest or most important thing in the room. Love simply is. Buzz, still unaware of the depth of the moment unfolding in Woody's mind, shifts slightly. There is a brief moment of connection, a silent understanding between them, though neither speaks. The weight of years, of sacrifice, of unspoken love, lingers in the air, and for the first time, they both feel it. Woody turns his gaze away from Buzz and looks out the window, watching the light shift as the day wanes. The fading sun casts a soft glow across the room, a reminder that, like the day, all things must eventually come to an end. But this is not an end to be mourned. It is simply the next chapter, one where Woody has accepted his place not in the spotlight, but in the quiet corner of a room where he is still loved, still valued. And as the room darkens with the setting sun, Woody feels a deep sense of peace wash over him, a peace that comes with the quiet understanding that he has given his best, and that, in the end, is enough. The future is uncertain, but for the first time in a long time, Woody is content with where he is, with who he is. The past no longer holds him captive, and in this quiet, peaceful moment, he finally allows himself to rest, knowing that his worth was never in his position, but in the love he has always quietly shared. Woody's gaze lingers on the shifting shadows of the room, the dimming light gently sweeping across the floor. His body still, as though caught between past and present, between who he was and who he's become. The quiet weight of time presses against him, but there is no rush now, no frantic urge to be something he's not. He watches as the last remnants of daylight fade, leaving behind only the soft, muted glow of the room. In this stillness, something inside him shifts, a subtle but powerful recognition that the past does not need to define him any longer. The sacrifices, the quiet moments where he stepped aside for Buzz, for Andy. They are not burdens to bear but pieces of a greater whole, a tapestry of love and loyalty woven with every silent act. The anxiety that once gnawed at him, the fear of being forgotten, of being replaced, slowly unravels in the face of this new understanding. Woody exhales deeply, the weight of years of silent struggle finally lifting. His hands, once clenched tight in frustration, relax at his sides. He no longer feels the need to fight for his place. In this quiet room, with the fading light and Buzz standing nearby, Woody feels a sense of calm that he hasn't known in a long time. The quiet acceptance that he no longer needs to be the favorite, the leader, or the most important, is both freeing and comforting. For the first time in years, Woody feels his worth not in the accolades or the attention he once craved, but in the simple act of being there, in the quiet companionship he has offered to Andy, to Buzz, and to all the toys around him. He has always been enough, even when he couldn't see it. As the last light of the day slips away, a deep peace settles into his bones. Woody no longer feels the pull of pride or jealousy, only the quiet satisfaction of having given all he had without expectation. The fear of being replaced, of being forgotten, fades into the background, replaced by something stronger, the understanding that love is not a competition, and that his place in Andy's heart, though not the same as it once was, has never truly left. Woody watches Buzz for a moment, his gaze softening. There is no envy, no bitterness. Just a quiet appreciation for the toy that has become Andy's new favorite. Buzz has his own journey, his own path to walk, and in that, Woody sees a reflection of his own. They are not rivals, not anymore. They are companions, each finding their own place in the world. And as the room grows darker, Woody feels something shift within him, a subtle change that speaks to the deep, unspoken healing that has taken place. He does not need to be the one who is most loved, for he knows that love, in its truest form, is not about being the favorite, but about being there when it matters most. Woody turns his gaze back to the window, watching as the stars begin to appear in the night sky. The world outside is vast, filled with unknowns, but Woody no longer feels afraid. The future may be uncertain, but for the first time in a long time, he feels a sense of calm, of acceptance, and of peace. He is not defined by the past, by what he once was, or by what he once had. He is defined by the love he has given, and in that he is enough. The quiet night settles around him, and Woody lets himself rest, knowing that the journey he has taken, the sacrifices he has made, have all led to this moment of understanding. And in that understanding, there is peace. The night has settled into a quiet rhythm, the only sound the soft rustle of the air moving through the room. Woody remains where he has been for hours, his eyes now fixed on the stars outside the window, the faint glimmer of light breaking through the darkness. The weight of the day, the weight of years of silent sacrifice, no longer feels as heavy. In fact, it feels distant, as if the burden that once threatened to crush him has slowly, almost imperceptibly, been lifted. He no longer feels like he's fighting for a place that isn't his. The desperation to be needed, to be the most important, to be the favorite, has all faded away, leaving only a quiet acceptance of what is. The sense of loss, once so overwhelming, now feels like a soft echo, fading with each breath he takes. Woody sits still, breathing deeply, his hands resting loosely at his sides. For the first time, he allows himself to feel the peace that has eluded him for so long. The quiet acceptance of the fact that he no longer holds the same place in Andy's life, that he is no longer the toy that takes center stage, is no longer something to fear. It's simply what it is. In this realization, there is a quiet power. Woody's entire identity, once so tied to being the leader, the protector, the favorite, now rests on something deeper. The love he's given and the quiet sacrifices he's made. And in this peace, Woody finally understands what it means to be free. His value was never in being the most loved or the most important. It was always in being there, in the small, quiet moments when no one else was looking. He has always been enough, even when he couldn't see it. Buzz, standing quietly beside him, seems to share in this unspoken understanding. There is no jealousy in Woody's gaze now, no fear of being replaced. Instead, he sees in Buzz something familiar, a toy, like himself, caught between the desire for purpose and the realization that purpose changes. Woody looks at Buzz for a moment, the two of them sitting side by side in the fading light, and in that glance, a silent bond forms between them. They are no longer rivals, no longer competing for the love and attention of a child. They are simply two toys, two companions, each finding their place in a world that constantly shifts. The air is still, the room is quiet, and in that silence, Woody feels a deep sense of contentment. The uncertainty of the future no longer worries him. He has found his peace, not in being the center of attention, but in the quiet moments where his presence mattered. The past no longer holds him captive. The fear of being forgotten, of being left behind, has all but faded away. The only thing that remains is the love he has given, the quiet moments that are the true measure of a life well lived. As the night deepens, the stars outside shining bright, Woody closes his eyes, allowing the silence to fill him, knowing that he is enough, and always has been. The room feels quieter now, the night fully settled around them. Woody's eyes, once clouded with fear and doubt, are now clear, as if a weight has been lifted from his soul. He watches Buzz for a moment, the toy standing tall, strong, and full of life. And for the first time in a long while, Woody doesn't feel the need to compare himself. There's no bitterness, no resentment, just a quiet sense of understanding. Buzz has his place, and Woody has his own, and that's enough. They don't need to compete for Andy's love anymore. The fear that once consumed Woody, the fear of being replaced, of no longer being the favorite, has started to dissolve. It's been replaced by something softer, more enduring. The truth is simple. Love doesn't work the way Woody thought it did. It doesn't need to be constant. It doesn't need to be the loudest. It doesn't need to be the most obvious. Love is present in the quiet moments, in the small acts of kindness, in the way Woody stayed by Andy's side for so many years, without ever needing to be the center of attention. And in that realization, Woody feels a deep peace wash over him. His journey isn't about reclaiming the past or proving his worth to anyone. It's about understanding that the love he's given, the love that has always been there, was never about being the most loved. It was about being there when it mattered. He glances at Buzz again, and for a brief moment, their eyes meet. In that fleeting exchange, something shifts. There's no need for words. No need to explain. They simply understand each other, in a way that only two toys who have shared the same space for so long can. The rivalry, the fear, the jealousy, it's all gone. It's been replaced by a quiet camaraderie, a recognition that they've both played their parts in Andy's life, and that was enough. Woody doesn't need to be the favorite toy anymore. He doesn't need to be anything other than what he is, a friend, a companion, a constant presence in the background of Andy's world. And that's more than enough. As the stars twinkle outside the window, Woody lets go of the final threads of his old fears. He no longer needs to prove himself. He no longer needs to fight for a place in a world that is always changing. He simply needs to be. And in that simplicity, Woody finds a peace he never thought possible. He has always been enough, and for the first time, he can truly accept that truth. Buzz stands beside him, and for the first time, they are no longer just toys in a competition for Andy's love. They are just two friends, side by side, each with their own place, each with their own purpose. The fear of being replaced is gone, and in its place, there is only the quiet comfort of knowing that their love, though different, is no less real. The room is peaceful now, the silence no longer oppressive, but a quiet reminder that sometimes the greatest peace comes when we stop fighting for what we think we want and accept what we have. Woody's body relaxes fully now, his shoulders dropping, the tension that once held him so tightly to the past finally fading away. In this moment, there is only contentment, only the understanding that the love he gave was always enough. The future is uncertain, but for the first time, Woody feels ready to embrace it, not with fear, but with the quiet strength that comes from acceptance. The journey isn't over, but for now, Woody is at peace. He has finally found his place, not in the spotlight, but in the quiet, enduring love that will always be there.